What's going on, y'all? You're back. I'm your host, Paco, and you're listening to Occupy the Media. I want to thank you if you're tuning in. We got my guest, Mark Russell, on the line. You still with me?
I'm here. I got you, Paco.
All right, and we're speaking with Mark. He's the one that was actually, in case you're just tuning in, he was the one that was actually live streaming the Nevada convention for us over the weekend, which I know a lot of us were tuning in and out, and had it on for hours like myself. Okay, so go ahead and let's take off from where you ended.
Yeah, sure. So you can imagine the big mess that not being able to know the integrity of the vote would cause. So this stopped business in its tracks. And by this point, we were at the part of the convention where we needed to adopt the rules, where the Rules Committee was giving their report. And so essentially, by that time, it was lunchtime. And the chairman, they had a little meeting, and they decided to break for lunch, and they required the entire room, the entire convention hall in the Rose Ballroom on the second floor of the Nugget in Sparks, Nevada, there to be evacuated. And so, which worked out well since it was lunchtime anyway. So everyone left the room, and I quit filming, and then for a while, and then resumed filming as the masses were starting to gather outside of the doors. And, I really got to hand it to the chairman and the leadership. They did the right thing, and they first seated, I forget which county, but for whatever reason, unknown to me, they decided to seat a county delegation first, a particular county, and then they asked for all visitors and media, basically non-delegates, to enter into the convention room. And they entered into the convention room. All the credentials were verified by sergeants at arms, and they were sat in their own section, in their own little gallery in the convention floor. And our convention floor was just a floor. There was no balcony. There was no spectator area. So they put them all in the little corner in the back of the room. And then at that point,
How many would you say there was? How many would you say there was?
I do not know. To be quite honest, I don't even know exactly the area that they sat them in. I don't know, maybe 100.
Okay.
And so at that point, they allowed all the rest of the delegates to enter. I had to show my badge and my Nevada's driver's license. I didn't have to. They didn't require you to show your driver's license, but they asked you to. Let's put it that way. So they verified the credential, and then everyone was seated. I did find it interesting, just on a side note, and maybe there's laws that are involved in all this or whatever, but when I initially had to pick up my credential, I didn't have to show any ID whatsoever. I just told them what my name was, and they opened up to their list, and they checked my name off and handed me my credentials. So, I could have, while I was up there, memorized a few other names and then called up some friends and go, hey, walk up to that table and just say you're so-and-so. Uh-huh. And that would have, caused trouble anyway. So anyway, I have questions in terms of all that. But after the rest of the delegation was seated after that, business was able to get on without a hitch. And interestingly enough, the Romney sort of whips, if you will, he had individuals that had orange caps on, that had the yes or no signs that was informing the rest of the
They had orange hats on. They had orange hats on.
Yeah. They had orange, yeah, and from what I understand, that's pretty common. The Ron Paul people, they had balloons, and if they were holding up the blue balloons, if you're for Ron Paul, vote yes. If they were holding up red balloons, if you're for Ron Paul, vote no. You know what I'm saying? How to vote on various motions.
Well, let me ask you this then: when you guys first got there, then, since you guys are separated by orange hats and balloons, would you say that you guys felt comfortable when you got there, saying it looks like we got the majority? It looks like we're good, or is it looking kind of like even?
Well, no, let me be a little bit more concise here. The only people with orange hats were people designated by the Romney campaign to hold up yes or no signs on how to vote. Not everyone from Romney had an orange hat.
Okay.
And not everyone from Ron Paul had a balloon. It was just the leadership that was put in place to to inform the rest of the delegation how to vote on various motions. So, because not everyone there is sophisticated enough, and myself included, to know how to vote on every single issue or every rule change.
True.
And so if we needed guidance, we could look to what the leadership of the Nevada Ron Paul campaign would like us to vote, and then we could vote along with it, which can be very helpful when you're like, in voting on an amendment to an amendment, and you're sort of confused by that point. So anyway, business got on hand. There was a little bit of debate in terms of a rule change someone wanted to make regarding the quorum, and the Romney people wanted the rules to reflect. And if I'm getting too detailed here, I don't want to bore anyone. If I'm getting too detailed here,
no. You're painting a picture. You know what I'm saying? So
nope.
That's what we need. We want a picture painted, and this is important. We want to get that out there. So I don't think you are.
Great. So anyway, okay, but before I get to the Rules Committee report, so we all get back in there and we're like, okay, we need to hear from the Credentials Committee report, and we need to know exactly how many delegates from what counties and how many visitors we have. So the woman who is the chair of the Credentials Committee report gets up there, and I feel really bad for her, but she made an error in the preliminary report. And what was causing all of the discrepancy was that since she made an error in the preliminary report and then gave inflated figures in a later report, that's what caused the whole ruckus, is that we were like, hold on, you said 1,100, were delegates at 9 a.m., which, by the way, is the cutoff. If you're not there by 9 a.m. and you don't have your credential, you're not allowed to be a delegate, even if you paid and everything. So she told us by 9 a.m. we had a preliminary report of like 1,100 delegates or so, and then the final report reflected like 1,400 delegates or something like that. And so everyone's like, all the Ron Paul folks were like, hold the phone. That's
something's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then it was in that whole mess that the whole credentials report, or the counterfeited credentials, and the
do you think it was purposely done?
Was going on.
Do you think that lady purposely messed with the numbers, or do you think that was an honest mistake that she missed it?
No, I don't think she purposely. No way. That was an honest mistake. As far as I can tell. And so anyway, she corrected her error, and then we were able to get on to business. And then the next piece of business that was debated to some degree was a rule in Section 4 of the Nevada GOP that had to do with the quorum. And basically, here's what can happen in a convention. Like, business could stop. Business is allowed to stop the moment there's no quorum. And a quorum is the minimum number of people required that need to be on the floor in order to conduct business. So, like, let's say you have a little club and you have 10 people.
Okay, hold on. Let's hold that, though, because I'm sorry, we're coming to a break, so I want you to make sure you hold that. We're going to come right back to that. You're listening to Occupy the Media. I'm your host, Paco. We'll be right back with Mark Russell.
To choose the